Hello! This story is part of a series titled Memories of Tehran. It had been several years since the egg incident, and I was still being accused of stealing and punished for things I had not done, and I wanted to understand why. In part 3, I am given a key to unlocking a door symbolizing knowledge and insight. The only problem was, it would still take me a few more years before I understood how to use it. Welcome to Storytime with Kumars. My name is Kayo Jijina, and this is part 3 of my story titled A Matter of the Curious Egg, Shades of Grey. I hope you enjoy it. Every few years, Grandpa Dorabji on my father's side of the family would make the rounds to come stay with us. Staying involved a 6-month visa and travel from India to Iran. Grandpa gave up his home situation after his children convinced him to take turns living with them. I would be seriously remiss if I did not mention not all significant others were happy with the arrangement. As Grandpa grew older, Dad would insist brother or I take turns going on afternoon walks with him. The upside was, it gave me a chance to get to know him and ask questions. Once a Zoroastrian priest, Grandpa followed his daily routine religiously. This included his morning prayers from a text called the Avesta. The Avesta was written in a language I did not understand, of which some of the passages were memorized before going through my Nojut, a coming-of-age ceremony. Prayer time transformed our simple bedroom into Grandpa's temple. The smell of sandalwood incense laced with heavy oils released ominous clouds as it burnt, floating several inches from the ceiling. The smoke seemed to carry the prayers as it ascended. Prayer time was quiet time at our house, and I knew better than to interrupt Grandpa. If I had a question, I would sit and wait, watching the incense burn. When Grandpa was ready for me, he would utter, "Bolo Baba." It was a term of endearment. Grandpa had never used my name. To him, I was always Baba. Or, when I was younger, he would call me Little Babaji. "Grandpa, I have a question about karma, something that came up in my 5th grade class." Grandpa adjusted his topi, brought one of his feet up to his lap, and began to massage it. "It has to do with a friend who stole a coin from his mother. I thought it best to keep the identities disguised." I went on to explain the story of my friend who had taken a coin from his mother's jacket pocket. He used it to buy plastic farm animals, and how months, and even years later, he was being punished for things he didn't do. I was concerned for this friend because it was affecting his judgment, not just at home, but at school and other places. I explained he would go out of his way to avoid getting close to anything that looked like money or personal property that might have been misplaced or left out in the open. Concerned he would get blamed for stealing. Then it was time for my question. "Grandpa, how does karma decide what punishments are enough, and if a person has learnt their lesson or not?" Grandpa thought for a while before embarking on his explanation of karma. I tried to follow, but had trouble, just like I did in the 5th grade class. Then there came a sudden change to energy in the room, and the conversation came to a halt. Mom announced her presence by opening a window to clear out the smoke. She was not keen on having the smoke all through the house. Grandpa might have noticed I was struggling, and even figured out who the friend was, but he didn't ask, and I didn't say. Taking his cue, Grandpa shifted the conversation. "Baba, this may have nothing to do with karma. Your friend should decide if this other person is of sound mind or not. The next time your friend comes across a lost or misplaced item, tell him to return it to its rightful owner and examine what happens. Things are not always what we think." Many moons would pass before the right set of conditions presented itself to test Grandpa's theory. By then, the conversation had faded, but the feeling remained. I was at Iran Zamin School, and it was recess time. The temperatures were approaching the mid-90s, and I decided to make my way to class a little early to escape the outside heat. The roof of the one-story building had cast a shadow, making it difficult to see the classroom doorway. As I walked into the shade, my eyes adjusted, focused on the dark object. A briefcase sat a few feet away from the door. I recognized the bag. It belonged to my teacher. Instantly, I panicked. "You can't go there now," came to mind. "Quick, turn around, go the other way." Within seconds, the inner voice jumped in and reminded me of the conversation little Grandpa and I had by finding the words and bringing them forward. "The next time your friend comes across a lost item, tell him to return it to its rightful owner and examine what happens. Things are not always what we think." I stood there staring at the briefcase, trying to summon up the courage to do the right thing. Finally, a count of 3. I picked up the briefcase and walked into class. "Oh my goodness, where did you find it?" came the teacher's voice. "The older I get, the more absent-minded I seem to be." The feeling of, did that actually happen, gave me a newfound sense of confidence. Fast forward to October 17th, 1975. A Friday. A weekend. A day off. Dad was not at home, and the dishes were on my to-do list. The way Mom rummaged through her purse, I could tell there was something wrong. She slammed the purse down on the kitchen counter, first eyeing, then pointing a finger in my direction. "Where's my money? I had a 500 rial note in my purse, and now it's gone." I turned the faucet off and looked in Mom's direction. "Mom, I have no idea where it is." Somewhere on The Price is Right, a buzzer goes off, notifying the contestant they made an incorrect choice. It buzzed for me right then. "I am sick and tired of you being a thief in this house. This time, you're going to get it." Brother and sister had gathered in the kitchen, like spectators at the Spanish Inquisition. Leaving her purse on the kitchen counter, Mom bolted for the bedroom to fetch her weapon of choice, one of Dad's wooden rulers with a metal edge for drawing a straight line. I had lost count of how many rulers Mom had broken on us over the years. The supply seemed endless. In the hierarchy of things, I would take the ruler over her rubber slippers. Rulers would break, while slippers did not. "You don't have that much time and need to move fast," came to mind. Knowing my options were limited, and at any moment she would be back, a thought magically appeared in a flash of light. I opened the purse and called Brother over, making certain he had a clear view inside, and was standing right next to me. Like a daddy long-legged spider, my fingers lifted a couple of the folded papers over to one side, and I began searching for the missing banknote. Just as Mom blasted through the kitchen with ruler in hand, I yelled out, "Here it is! Here it is! Brother was standing right here as I searched through your purse. It was stuck between your papers. You can see for yourself, right here in your purse. I did not take anything. Ask him, just ask him." I pleaded, hoping my words would register in time to switch the execution off. Before Brother could say anything, Mother shoved him aside and stood between us, facing me. My heart was racing, not sure what to expect. The balance was delicate, and the scales could tip in either direction. "You are lying," she cried. "I cannot trust you not to steal from my purse. Get out of my sight. Go to your room." The escape had been by a narrow margin, and I began to understand all the world was not painted with the same shade of gray.